Yeah, we boarded that highly suspect warship Danvers pinged.
It was an infectious garbage scow.
So thanks for the hot tip.
Well, you were closer.
Yeah, and now we smell like garbage.
You get a reading on those tremors?
It was a mild subduction under the African plate.
Do we have a visual? How are we handling it?
Net. It's an earthquake under the ocean. We handle it by not handling it.
Carol, are we seeing you here next month?
Not likely.
What, you gonna get another haircut?
Listen, Furface. I'm covering a lot of territory. The things that are happening on Earth are happening everywhere. On thousands of planets.
All right. That's a good point.
So you might not see me for a long time.
All right. Well, this channel is always active. So if anything goes sideways, anyone's making trouble where they shouldn't, comes through me.
Kulungile.
Okay.
All right.
Good luck.
I don't think I want you looking at that. I'm not sure it pertains to you anymore. Now this, on the other hand, is Agent Romanoff's assessment of you. Read it.
Personality overview. Mr. Stark displays compulsive behavior. In my own defense, that was last week. Prone to self-destructive tendencies. I was dying. I mean, please. And aren't we all? Textbook narcissism. Agreed? Okay, here it is. Recruitment assessment for Avenger Initiative. Iron Man, yes. I gotta think about it.
Read on.
Tony Stark not recommended? That doesn't make any sense. How can you approve me but not approve me? I got a new ticker. I'm trying to do right by Pepper. I'm in a stable-ish relationship.
Which leads us to believe at this juncture we'd only like to use you as a consultant.
You can't afford me. Then again, I will waive my customary retainer in exchange for a small favor. Rhodey and I are being honored in Washington, and we need a presenter.
See what I can do.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Black Panther 2 Namor Easter egg video. There have been a couple Easter eggs for Atlantis and Namor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe going all the way back to Iron Man 2, so we'll break it down and I'll explain why Black Panther 2 is a Marvel Phase 5 movie and not on the Marvel Phase 4 schedule. We're doing the Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home Blu-ray giveaways. All you have to do to enter those is be a subscriber and leave your best Namor theory on the video. Namor is a perfect character you can introduce as a Black Panther villain the same way they introduced the M'Baku character in the Black Panther movie. First he shows up trying to fight the throne away from Black Panther just because their ideologies are so different. They're bitter enemies, then become allies. I wouldn't call them friends, but they're definitely much more friendly than they were before. And M'Baku became king of Wakanda after both Shuri and Black Panther got snapped. So during that scene, Black Widow is asking Okoye about an underwater earthquake off the coast with all kinds of tremors and aftershocks. They didn't spend a whole lot of time during the movie explaining what happened in Wakanda during that 5-year time jump between the end of Infinity War, Thanos' first snap, and the Avengers Endgame final battle. M'Baku then became the strongest candidate to take the throne as King of Wakanda. Okoye is still doing the same thing, but with 50% of Wakandans around, she has more responsibilities on her hands. But both of them are staunch traditionalists when it comes to Wakandan culture and society. Remember, M'Baku hated the idea of technology initially, even though he may have softened a little bit on it. He's still very stuck in his ways. Okoye is the same way too. She was all about protecting the history of Wakanda. Black Panther was making the radical move at the end of the Black Panther movie to open their borders and start the outreach programs. So you have the perfect scenario with post-snap Wakanda going back to closing its borders off again because of the tragedy. We need to take care of our own. So they're not doing quite as much outreach as they would have done before, being more isolationist outside of participating in these Avengers Global Threat Watch meetings. but they're mostly dealing with all the craziness that's going on inside Wakanda's borders. Then you have this giant underwater earthquake. Atlantis is partially or mostly destroyed after they've already lost half of their Atlantean population to being snapped away, and Namor not fully understanding what happened between the Avengers and Thanos to cause all of it. So basically you have the same thing happening to the Atlanteans and Namor that happened to Thor and the Asgardians. First, a whole bunch of them get killed off, then half of those that survive get snapped. You have the 5-year time jump with them trying to pick up the pieces. Now you have the same thing happening in Atlantis. And Atlanteans already hate surface dwellers and are even more isolationist than Wakanda was. Namor lives through all these tragedies. One of the key differences between Namor and other Marvel Cinematic Universe characters is that he's very, very long-lived. So he's been king of Atlantis for more than 1,000 years, and you have Black Panther, a brand new king. So you have the idea of two kings going to war with each other and wrestling with what it means to be king, but also dealing with all the craziness that's happened between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Then you have Okoye over here like, there's an underwater earthquake in the ocean, who gives a crap, not our problem. That is what caused a lot of the problems that they dealt with during the first Black Panther movie. You have Black Panther's father and his brother fighting each other. His father eventually kills his brother because he stole the vibranium because he wanted to help other people. Black Panther's father said that he felt like it was too risky and they had no business getting involved in the rest of the world's problems, and that leads them to their Killmonger plot. So Namor, just a slam dunk Black Panther villain in that same vein. Some of the similar ideas from the first Black Panther movie, but just on a much more massive scale, dealing with much more complex internal problems. Black Panther's storyline mirroring Namor's storyline as kings of their respective nations and what it means to be king in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So why isn't Namor on the Phase 4 schedule? Black Panther made gangbusters money. How come they aren't rushing to get the Black Panther sequel out? Kevin Feige said it's mostly because Ryan Coogler is still working on the script. They gave him 4 years to develop that sequel, and it took him a little while to sign Ryan Coogler for the sequel. They didn't lock him down for a second movie when he did the first Black Panther movie, so he's going to get paid crazy money now. Best rumor I've seen so far is that it's going to come out May 2022 and be an early Marvel Phase 5 film with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It was such a big film, they didn't want to rush a bad sequel out when they could take their time and make something way better. Normally it would be like 3 years, but you have all this stuff with Thor 4 being tail end Marvel Phase 4, so they just had to wait a little bit longer to release it. But the other big reason why they're waiting on it just a little bit is because of Namor, the Atlanteans, people with biologically based powers, very close to the ideas of X-Men and mutants, and they're just not quite there in the MCU yet. Scarlet Witch is just the tip of that iceberg because there have been some official Marvel books that have described her as having latent biological powers, which is basically them saying she's a mutant without coming right out and saying that she's a mutant. But these books were published before the Fox deal went down. Now Marvel can say anybody's a mutant that they want to without any big legal problems. But they're using the Eternals movie, early Marvel Phase 4, to explain biological powers in the MCU. And typically, Marvel introduces a big concept like that in a movie before doing movies that trade on similar plot twists. Doctor Strange is probably the best example of that. In the first Doctor Strange movie, they introduced the concept of the multiverse, and they explained how magic and the supernatural works in the MCU. Once they did the supernatural, as Kevin Feige explained during the big Marvel Phase 4 panel, it allowed them to do Blade, a vampire, and multiverse movies like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And then, next step on that road, once they established all that, they had the foundation for their Avengers Secret Wars multiverse movie. Amazing story potential, but you can't do something like that until you explain a couple other really big concepts in other movies. Same thing with the X-Men, mutants, Namor, and people with biologically based powers. That's why Fantastic Four, X-Men, the Blade movie, Black Panther 2 are all Marvel Phase 5 movies, not Marvel Phase 4. Right now there's a rumor that Marvel is going to announce some of their Marvel Phase 5 movie dates at the D23 panel in a few weeks. If they do that, of course I'll do a video for it. They're probably going to show off some footage from the Marvel Phase 4 movies too. Right now, these are the rumors for the early Marvel Phase 5 movie dates. I mean, it makes sense that Black Panther 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 would be some of the first Marvel Phase 5 movies because Guardians already has the cast and they have a finished script. But let me know in the comments, if Namor is the villain of Black Panther 2, what do you want them to do with the character after that movie? Because I just don't see him joining the Avengers anytime soon. In fun fact too, right now the Aquaman sequel is coming out at the end of 2022, so it'll be fun to see what happens when those films go head to head, or if they decide to move the release date of the Aquaman sequel. But I'm working on more Marvel Phase 4 videos, an Eternals preview video, Fantastic Four, and X-Men videos. If there's any big questions or requests that you guys have for videos, just leave them in the comments below. Congratulations to the winner from my last big Spider-Verse video, Nick Papel. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your contact details. While you wait for everything, click here to learn about the live-action Spider-Man Venom Spider-Verse TV shows they're making, and click here to learn about the Red Hulk deleted scene from Avengers Endgame. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.